Hello everybody. Hello and welcome to the Photoshop workshop. Today we will be explaining to you how to use Photoshop as an architect. My name is Batul Jassim and um, I am going to be explaining to you the basic tools and the basic commands in Photoshop and how to render your plans as an architect. So rendering your plan is very important to execute your project professionally. So basically architects use rendering with Photoshop every day to give their plans, their sections and elevations, their 3D perspectives, the best look that they can possibly can. So for starters, I'm going to go over the basics commands of this program. I know Photoshop can look very intimidating, but we can just go over the basics and we're going to start from the top on how to um, open a project. Okay, so let's start on how to open a Photoshop project, how to start a new project and just go from the beginning. So Photoshop allows you an array of options on how to proceed with your work. So you can just choose different sizes, different measurements, different printing techniques. So let's just start right away. You can click here and I would love that you open your Photoshop and try these steps with me. So whenever you have a problem, you can just raise your hand and I would show you how to do it correctly. So first of all, you can click on File, then click on New, which is gonna show this window for you, and you can choose from here how do you want to proceed. There is different printing sizes, there is A4, A5, different options to how you want to proceed with your work. So first of all, you can just choose any size from here if you want to start with a blank page. But if you already have a project like a plan or a section and elevation that you have extruded from your AutoCAD or from any other program that you're working on, you can just open that. So I'm going to open a plan, a simple plan that I have. So this is my plan. And now I'm wondering, how do I just open it on Photoshop? How do I put it in a project? So simply, you can just hold and drag the project, the plan, the file that you have into your Photoshop. So PDF files, PNG files, they all open as projects in Photoshop. So you can just take it, drag it, and drop it, which is going to open the project here. You're going to have this window, import PDF, which is what we're doing. And then you're just going to click on OK, which opens up your project. So now we have our project open right here. And then we can't really see the project because it does not have a background. It's very simple and it's not obvious right now. So I'm just gonna go and add a layer. So how do we add layers in Photoshop? You can just click on this little plus sign right here, which is gonna add for you a layer. So you have now a layer, layer number 1 and layer number 2. But that's very confusing. Like, where is the layer that I'm working on? Like, where is my plan? Is my plan here? Is my plan there? So the thing that you can do to resolve this issue is to just click on the eye to hide. Oh yeah, I can see that here is my plan. So I'm gonna show it and then double click on the name right here. It's gonna highlight it in blue and I'm gonna name it plan. and then I'm gonna go into this part, double click on it, and rename it background. So after doing that, I'm gonna go to my background. I'm gonna fill it with a color. So this is the first tool that we're gonna be using, a bucket. So as simple as it sounds, it's just a bucket that you can choose a color from here. So here I have my main color is black. So I'm just gonna switch it to white, or you can just click on that color right here and choose whatever color you need for your background. So I'm just gonna go with a simple white. Click OK, and then fill the background. So right now I have my background layer and it's filled, but I cannot see my plan anymore. And the simple solution for that is to just move your background behind your plan. So your plan is always above everything else. It's at the top of your workstation. So now our plan is on the top. We have a background, we can see it clearly, and we can work with it. So the just select with a magic selection tool. So the magic selection tool is what's most commonly used. You can see it as this little magic wand right here. Magic wand tool. You can click on it, and then whenever you click on a space, Photoshop will identify the space and select it. So we now selected this space and it's my flooring. So I am gonna go and fill it with whatever color that I want. So for example, let's go with maybe a brown color right here. And we're gonna fill it, okay? So now, maybe I do not really like it. After I've done it, I think it doesn't look that good. So I try to remove it, I try to delete it, it's stuck to my plan. So that is a mistake that you should always avoid. So going back from our history to our selection, we need to add a new layer. So whenever you have any new step that you want to add to your Photoshop, you want to add colors, you want to add backgrounds, you want to add anything, you add a layer. So let's add a layer, and again, call it flooring. So after calling it flooring, I can just now go and fill it. So it's filled now, and I can click on Ctrl and D to deselect the area. So now my flooring is colored, but I don't think that it looks very good. It's not very detailed, it's not very rendered. So I need to work on it more to give it a better look. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna explain to you how to do patterns. How do you add a pattern to your flooring that can give you a very detailed professional look? So you can go to your Google, you can search in Google Images. So Google Images, you can just go and then search for wood. So the magic word that we have to write to give ourselves a good texture is seamless. So seamless is a word that gives you patterns that work with your project. They are textures that actually fit the projects that you're working with. So we're gonna search for wood seamless texture. After searching, I have a bunch of pictures that can work, and maybe I like this one. So let's just click on it and then save it. Save this image, save it to any file that you want. And then what we're gonna do is take the picture that we have downloaded and put it not on our project, but right here in this place, this row right here. It's gonna open it in a separate file, and then you can just go click on edit, define pattern, and then we're gonna name it wood maybe 1. Okay, we're gonna click on OK, then gonna go back to my project, and now we can just close this project right here. Okay, so now we're gonna like I let Photoshop identify this project, but how do I add it to my work? How do I add it to my project? So I'm just gonna go and click on this FX button right here. After clicking on it, gonna click on it, and then you're gonna choose pattern overlay. After clicking pattern overlay, you're gonna go here and choose the pattern that you have just added. So I added this pattern and it looks very good. Maybe I can just play with the scale, make it bigger, make it smaller, but I'm gonna go with 100. 100 looks very good. So I'm gonna click OK, and now I have a flooring. So let's work on another tool on Photoshop. I want to add something to this room. I feel like this room is very empty. It doesn't have a lot of life in it. So I am gonna go and search for plan view PNG. Okay, so it's gonna give you a bunch of pictures, and you can just see the one that you like, and I just download it to your files. So for example, I like, I don't know, maybe this one. Just check that it doesn't have a background. So this one has a background, so we cannot use it. When it has no background, it's gonna show the checkers. It's gonna show this look right here. So you see, when I clicked on it in the beginning, it was white, but then after loading, it has checkers, checked background. So I'm just gonna click Save Image and save it. And go back to my project and then take it. This is the picture that we just saved, and drag it and drop it in my project. So it's right here. I can just scale it down to fit my project and then add it in the corner, and then click on this check to confirm with Photoshop that this is what I want. And then right here in my layers again, it says unnamed, which is not something that we want. So we're gonna name it plant. As simple as that. But it does not really fit my plan. It doesn't look very realistic. So what I'm gonna do is add a shadow. So you can just go click on the layer and then click on FX again, drop shadow. So clicking on drop shadow, you can just drag it to the side. A shadow appears under your object, and you can just play with the distance of the object. You can play with the angle of the shadow. Like this is the angle of the sun, and here is the shadow right here. You can see this is the sun, this is the shadow. So you can make it darker, make it lighter, whatever you feel like it fits your plan. So I'm gonna click OK, and now I have a plant box with a shadow under it, and it looks very good for my project. Next tool that I'm going to be explaining to you is brushes. I think that brushes really help you as an architect to define a look that gives you a very realistic and defined rendering for your project. So we're just going to go right here
So guys, we're gonna give you a small break. Please feel free to try all these steps on your own projects, and please, if you have any questions, just raise your hands, and we're gonna let you ask them for now.
Easy right here, and maybe I'm gonna search fabric. So this is how I got these brushes, and I'm gonna just install them like I installed the fog ones. So you can just look around, and this website has a lot of brushes. So you can just go around, like maybe I like this one, I like this one. You can just click on whatever one you like, and then going back to my plan, you can, after downloading it, you can go to brushes and then click right here, import brushes, and then add the file that you just downloaded. So like we just downloaded the fog brushes, and then when you download it, it's gonna look like this. It's gonna open like a compressed file. So you can just drag it and drop it to the file that Photoshop opens for you, and then double click on the file that you had just imported. So fabric, like, yeah, this is the fabric texture brushes that we just downloaded from Brush Easy. We can load them. Okay, so right here, fabric texture. So let me just clear this part for you and redo it with you. Just delete our layer. Yes. Yeah, and then going back, adding a layer for the rug. Going back to my plan and selecting with the magic select tool. It selects the space, and then I select whatever brush that I want from the ones that we just imported. So maybe this one. There is a bunch of options that you can choose from. So you just go with the size that you feel that fits your plan. So right here, you see I'm playing with the size, and when I go to my plan, yeah, I feel like this is a good size. I choose whatever color I want. So maybe let's go with a darker blue this time, and then just click in the middle, maybe click again. It gives us a texture. So let me just zoom in for you. Yes, you can see the texture right here. Click on Ctrl and D to deselect. So you can see it. You can just add whatever pattern that you feel comfortable with, and there's a bunch of brushes that you can work with. Like I've downloaded just one from Brush Easy, but there is like millions of them that you can download and import into your files. I hope that I've answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Um, yeah, Jad, you asked me how can I add my plan with right scale if I want to do a poster. Okay, so this goes back to importing your plan from AutoCAD. So like you import your plan from AutoCAD with the right size that you want, and Photoshop will just open it with the size that you imported it in. So for example, you imported your plan with the size A2, you can just drag it and drop it, and Photoshop will open it for you in A2. So when you, like when I'm done with this plan and I want to save it, it's gonna be in A4 size, because that's the size that I imported my my plan in. So it just depends on the plan, the size that you imported your plan in when you worked on it, from AutoCAD, from Revit, from whatever program that you have worked on. And if you want, you can just select the size from here. Like I can just go here and then do a maybe in print, I want maybe an A4 size or like an A3. Let's go for an A3, and I can just change the orientation of it and create it. It's gonna open the size, the right size for me, and then I can just import my plan right here. You can see I'm importing it. Okay, and then it's gonna look smaller because this plan I extruded it from AutoCAD in the size A4. So I can just drag it to the size of my canvas. So this makes it an A3 plan. Now I can just click right here on the check, and it's now an A3 size. I hope I have answered your question, Amjad. You can just raise your hand if you have a question, or you can just write me in the chat. You're welcome, Amjad.
Yeah, I had a question. How do you add the brushes after you download it? How to add it to Photoshop? Can you repeat that part, please?
Okay, yeah, sure, I will repeat it. Okay, so you downloaded it. You, as we said before, you go, you search for whatever brush you want, and then you click on free download.
So from here, create a new layer. It's gonna pop up on top, and then just drag it down and name it background. I like to name my layers because it helps me to work efficiently and not get lost. So filling the layer with white is what you should do at this point, and then we're going to work on the walls of the plan. This is the first step. Doing walls is could give you a broad idea of how to continue the drawing. You could do any color, but in this case, I'm doing black walls. So you go to the toolbar here and you choose the magic wand. You can use a lot of tools, but the magic wand is better for situations like this because it chooses one solid color. Like if you have cyan here maybe and you want to choose that cyan color, you just click it and it chooses all cyan pixels. So I advise that you create a new layer for each segment of the plan. Let's say we want walls. We just create a new layer and put the layer underneath our plan layer. Let's call it walls. Just click on the wall that you want and then go to the paint buckets and just go black and paint. Now, in some cases, you might see that the wall has these white pixels. You might see these white pixels in the wall, and you see the wall is not fully filled up. So what we could do in this case is select, go up to select here on the ribbon, go down to modify and choose expand. Then just type expand by 1 pixel and then click OK. Now the selection is expanded 1 pixel. That pixel that was white before, it's going to be black right now. See, that will give you a solid color for the walls. Now just continue all the walls. Just select them all at once. Yes, Jimmy.
Yeah, I can't find the magic wand that you're using.
You have to right click here. Sorry, hold on this.
Oh, okay.
You have to hold and then just click the magic wand. Did you find it? Okay. Now select, after selecting, we're just going to select, modify, and expand, and +1, and then just fill it all. Now we just finished the walls, easy as that. After the walls, I would advise that you go for the small parts of your plans, just like windows, like the stairs, and then as we can see, there's a countertop here, so I'm going to go for it after the windows. Keep in mind that you have to always make new layers so you can just separate your work. See, this is the plan layer, this is the walls layer. This is going to help you to organize your work. You might notice in the walls there's these small parts that are white. Sometimes it's not selectable with the magic wand. If that's the case, then just go to the brush, go black, select the walls layer, and just color them manually. It's not going to take that much time. It's just one color. Back to the windows. Let's call this layer windows. Okay. Now these are the windows of my plan. Some of you have windows as double lines. They might have it like this, and there's space here. But in my case, there's one line. So what I'm going to do is just again select these parts of each window. And then go to select, modify, expand, and just expand by 1 pixel, and then go to the color. Let's say we're going cyan. That's the sky color, and just give it the cyan look. Okay, we're done with the windows, the walls. Let's go now to these countertops. Okay, I'm gonna make a new layer for these countertops because we're not gonna use a solid color this time. Let's just say counters. Okay. Now we're gonna go to Google and just type kitchen countertop. Go to pictures, of course. 1 second. Yes, just kitchen countertop plan PNG. Sometimes you would find here something. If you don't, like it's in my case, then just change the change this to this. Change the plan to view. Then go down, maybe you'll find. Okay, I found this, but I don't want to really use it, so I had one already that's there. It's this one. It's porcelain, so you could use any material you want. Just right click it, click copy image. You could save it, but it's just gonna take space on your computer. Copying is easier. Just then go to Photoshop, and then just press Ctrl plus V. You have it now in Photoshop. In the counters layer, of course. Keep in mind you have to select the layer each time. Now after that, kinda is big, but that's okay. You could minimize it, maximize it by pressing Control T. Control T, that's we're gonna choose your object. You can size it up or down as you like. I'm gonna size it down in my case to this countertop, and then just double click on it to remove the border. Now focus with me because this is going to be very important. You have to hide the layer. That's the first. Go to your magic wand tool, select the countertop. Now when you select this countertop, you don't have to do the modify and select thing. That's just for the walls and for solid color places. This time you could just select and then go to your layer that you wanna, the material, and just unhide it. Now you have to press this command. It's Control J. This is easier. J as in John, not J as in George. So once you do that, it's gonna create for you a new layer above the counters layer. Now this counter layers, you could just delete it, and then you have your counter in the selection, the new layer that we just made. And this process is going to be repeated across the whole plan. You just put your material, select the area, and then choosing the material again from the layer section and just Control J. It's gonna create, it's gonna duplicate the layer, and it's going to duplicate in that selection. That's the purpose of duplicating. Now, we shouldn't have deleted this one because I need to copy this here. So you just select and then do the same thing. You see? Select and then select and then just do the same thing. Now you can delete your counters layer. You have 3 layers now, which are all countertops. What you could do is just select them all by selecting the first one and then pressing Shift and selecting the last one. Then you can just press Control E as in Eric. That's going to combine these layers that you selected to one single layer, so you have less layers in your project. Keep in mind, the more layers you have, the more messy your project is, and the bigger the size of your project will be. Just name it counters, and now we're done with this part. Now every other part has the same process. There is just a slight difference. Let's go to Google and let's say we want the bathroom. I chose this. You just type in Google bathroom tiles like this. Bathroom tiles PNG. Just try to keep your pictures in PNG because PNG has high quality, as you can see. Right click and just click copy image. Go to Photoshop and just Control V. Now that, if you don't have an empty layer, it's going to create a new empty layer for you. This is the flooring for our bathroom. This is the bathroom area. So just select the layer, resize it. That should be first. It's good to have your material inside the place you want, so you don't make big big squares, big material choices in your area. So just resize it as needed. This is good. Now align it with any corner, okay? And then did this before, just to cut the time for you guys. You do the same thing we did with the bathroom in this one. Just do it here and get another material, wood, ceramic, anything you like, and just do the same process over and over and over. After that, what you could do is just go to your plan. You can go to your plan layer, this one, this layer, and then you just double click the thumbnail right here, and then go to drop shadow. Okay, you can go to drop shadow. Now, in the drop shadow menu, you have a lot of options. It's kind of overwhelming, so I'll tell you what. You have the blend mode. I suggest you keep it on normal. The color, I suggest to keep on black. And the opacity you can play with later, but for now, let's just keep it to 100. You have this angle. Now, this angle is the angle of the shadow you're casting from your plan. Let's say I wanted 45. The 45, you see this line? This is the line of sun. Opposite to that line is going to be your shadow. You have distance here. Now this distance, if it's 0, your angle will not work. It's just going to be on the same place as your walls. You want to cast shadow away from your walls, you have to move the distance slider. You see? Just like this. Now in some of your cases, your shadow will look like this. Now this is a problem, this is a mistake. You can't have your shadow as another plan. It's going to just ruin your project. What you could do is, after you did the distance, go to the spread. Now this spread makes your shadow darker and makes your size, and the size, it just spreads your shadow. This is what you want, the size. I suggest you play with the size and just go down with the spread. And if you see it as too much like this, just go down with the size. It's okay. Now I think it's too far from my walls, so I'm just going to take the distance back and remove a bit of the spread and add some size. I'll make it 31, and I'm gonna make my spread at 5. And this is going to make your walls cast shadow to your actual building. One thing you can do for the shadow sometimes can cast over your windows, so you can just bring the windows layer, just click and drag on top of your plan. 1 second. Yes, okay. Sorry, my bad. What you could do is select the window layer like this, okay, and select your plan. 1 second. Okay, sorry guys, I kind of ruined something here. Okay, you could drag your window above your plan, okay, and then just Control J the plan, okay, and when you do that, it's gonna copy the effects that you did. So what you could do is just right click and click clear layer style. Okay, when you do that, just put the copy you made above your window, and there you have it. You just fixed the dark windows problem. You could do that with everything. You could do that with your stairs. You could do that with the countertops. I did it with the countertops actually. I put it above my plan. And there's something you can do too. Just take your rectangle tool and then go to the flooring. Let's say the flooring for this place. Okay. This is the study area flooring. You just take the rectangle tool and just select it. Now, once you do that, what you could do is just after select, you press Control J again, and it's going to create this layer. It's going to separate this layer from the rest of the material. Once you do that, just double click that layer, okay, and then go to Drop Shadow, and then put the angle the opposite side of the step. You see, if the step is going up, sorry, if the step is horizontal, put the angle on vertical. Let's make it 90, okay, and then lower your size, bit of spread. Now little size and just reduce the distance a bit, and there you go. You have your step casted shadow right now. It looks like it's going up and down. It's not 2D anymore. And you could just do the same thing with the other step. Just go to the material, rectangle tool, just select this one. Yeah. Sometimes you have flooring like this one, like this floor. This needs a bit more work, but it's the same process actually. You just here, I'm gonna use, one second, I'll show you. Let's take this one for example. Okay, copy. Let's go to the plan, Control V, and then just, okay, what you could do is just minimize it a bit. Now go here and just press Control J. Okay, move it and then select them both, do the same thing. Okay, I'm going to select them all because they're now too big. Minimize, and then just duplicate again, do the same thing. Okay, just now select them all. After you duplicate them a lot, you just select them all, and then you're going to add them together. Don't worry about this openings. Not being exact here. You just select them all, Control E to merge them, and then just remove the group. It's gonna mess up your work. And then just resize it. Let's just resize it like this. You can resize it any way you like, and then just hide it. Click with the magic wand to select this space, and then unhide and do this thing with the Control J. And that goes for every room in your plan. Does that answer your question, Al-Walid?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody has any more questions? Why don't you define the tile as pattern? The pattern is, okay, it's easier and takes less time, but for me, I'm used to this way of making the material, Ranim. You could use the pattern as my friend Batul said and demonstrated, and you could use this way. It's your choice. You could just use any way you think is better for you. I think this is better for me because I can play with the size as I like. The pattern is like something fixed. Yes, thank you. Any more questions? Okay, if no one has any more questions, then I'm going to move the presentation to my friend Abdurrahman, so he can demonstrate to you how you can color and render your section and elevation. They're both the same way, kinda. the section goes as section is like a combination between the plan rendering and the elevation rendering. Abdurrahman is now going to demonstrate to you how to do that part. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Abdurrahman Dian, and I'm a second year in architecture. I'll be showing you how to render the section part of the floor plans. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. So currently, this is going to be my section. Rendering a section is very similar to what my colleagues demonstrated, and essentially, I think the only difference between rendering a section versus rendering a plan is that you're going to have to deal with the background, which is a very simple process, hopefully, and I really hope that you do actually enjoy the process because it's actually kind of fun and extremely creative. So first of all, you have to, in order to add a background to your section, you're gonna have to, there's actually two methods. You could either just download, which I'm gonna be demonstrating right now. So you could either download a stock photo from Google. It has to be a high HD, like high quality image in order for it to look better in your section. I've actually downloaded my backgrounds already, so I'm just gonna show you how to add your photos into Photoshop. Basically, you just have to drag your photo and drop it into the window of Photoshop. And essentially, you're gonna have to expand the photo and press the check mark. I'm gonna just slightly move the photo up. And this is really important. Your photo has to be underneath the first layer. If it's actually in here, you're just gonna have to drag it to the second layer beneath the layer one. Layering is extremely important when it comes to layering is extremely important when it comes to the section because you're gonna have to make sure that the layers don't overlap incorrectly. You have to make sure that the layers that are in front are on the top. So the second step, you're gonna have to create a new layer. It's gonna be the ground layer. And when I do the ground layer, I'm just gonna select, as my friend demonstrated, I'm just gonna select this area, and I want to select like all of the parts that seem to me that they're basically underneath the house. I'll have to select it. And now I'm just gonna use the brush in order to color. I'm just gonna use a brush to color my ground area. Actually, the brush is extremely useful in AutoCAD, as my colleague just said. I mean Photoshop, as my colleague just said. It's extremely important because it allows you to have more of a creative freedom. For example, so the second step is actually going to be I'm just gonna create another layer, wall, and call it walls. And I'm just gonna highlight these areas. Actually, I'm gonna show you how to do the patterns. Again, it's like there's not that much difference between doing the floors versus doing the sections. It's basically the same process. You're just gonna have to but instead of just layering the patterns on top of each other, I'm just gonna define pattern, and I'll call it walls. And then I'm gonna press Shift plus F5. It's gonna open the fill tab, and I'll just have to select the texture that I just defined as a pattern and just press OK. And as you can see, it's actually really, really small. So I'm just gonna press Shift again, and I'm gonna script it. It's gonna be brick fills. If I press OK, I could actually like scale it from here. Instead of being 0.2, I could either choose 0.8 and see how it's going to be. Or maybe like 2. Let's see. So I'm just going to move on. So another thing that you're probably going to want to do in a section is basically add furniture. So adding furniture is really simple, as my colleague just showed you. It's just you're going to have to download the photos from Google and basically drag them into Photoshop. I pre-download some furniture. For example, I downloaded this this painting. You could basically put the painting over here, and let's say we want some plants in this. Or let's say we want a couch. So sorry, basically you could just drag the couch and put it beneath, like position it as you want. And let's say you want some plants, we could just put the plants over here. And yeah, that's basically how you can furniture your place. And let's say you just want to put a door, you're just gonna have to download you're basically gonna have to download a photo of a door. And as you can see, there's a lot of options, so you just have to pick one, and I've actually downloaded one already, and it's here. Again, just drag and drop and scale to the proper proportions, and then press the check mark. And yeah, basically you this is the process of how to actually make the section. You just have to repeat it. And one last thing, you have the walls, these walls over here, and in order to do these walls, you just have to select them. And of course, press shift in order to select even more. And yeah, you're just gonna have to select these. Keep in mind, if there's a lot of patterns such as this, you really can't use the magic wand on these. And basically you could just increase the, so basically you just increase the brush and increase the opacity to 100, pick black texture. And yeah, that's basically how you could section do the section part. You could just repeat the process to the other rooms, and I'm pretty sure you could do a better job. So actually, you have the stair part. The stair part, you could actually use the lasso tool in order to do the stairs. You could either do the lasso or probably you could actually use the magic wand. Yes. I'm sorry. Oh, I see. So yeah, again, you have to be in the right layer, and here we go. And again, you just pick the right color. And the thing about AutoCAD, the thing about Photoshop is that you could just, instead of using the images on relying on other images, you could just color using the, let me actually first select these. So yeah, you could just color using the brush rather than relying on the images. And there's a lot of, actually, there's a lot of really good effects with the brush. Let me pick like another color. that. Let's just do this wall here. And shift 5, enter. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, this is basically how you could essentially just render the section of Photoshop. You just it's somewhat of a slow process, but I'm pretty sure like if you spend more time on it, you're gonna actually do something that's actually better than what me and my colleagues demonstrated, and it's really important. It's really enjoyable when you really get to know how to do these. Let me just add maybe another couch. Oh, let me just add another couch. That is too big. That's still too big. Check. Yeah, so basically that is how you render a section, or this is the process of rendering a section. If you have any questions, please, this is the time to ask right now. Just raise your hand and we'll unmute you.
Hi, Abdurrahman.
Yes, Jamil, what?
Yeah, how do you do the stairs? Like put the color in, because you have an angle there, right?
So your question is how to do the stairs?
Yeah, because when I put the rectangle, it's a rectangle. So how you do the angle part?
So in
Like
the
to
stairs,
select it, I mean.
you could either use the lasso, which is this one right here. You could either press L and choose, or you could just go to
Magnetic
the
lasso?
magic wand.
Okay.
It's actually important that you choose the correct layer, you have to actually choose layer 1, which is the base layer of the lines for the section. And
Right, okay.
you choose what magic wand, and you just press on the parts that you want to fill.
Right. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions, just raise your hand.
So when dragging the furniture into the section, is there any way possible I can automatically place them in their correct scale? Because, right when you place them into the Photoshop file, they're normally in a very messed up scale. So how do you fix the scale?
So there is actually a way to measure the scale. Let's First of all, I'd like to apologize for the background sound. So there is actually a correct way to measure the scale, which is basically you could just press Control R. It's gonna actually give you this ruler. And this ruler basically gives you the ability to measure using the centimeters. For example, I actually know that this drawing is 1:30 for demonstration purposes, so I could just calculate the scale of the drawings itself. So if I want to have this drawing in, let's just say that the original height of the cushions is, if I'm not mistaken, it's around like 36. So I can just calculate what is 1 to 30 and 36, and I believe that's like so yeah, basically you just have to calculate it based on scale and just use this in order to scale your dimensions properly. And actually, I want just mention that the ruler is actually gonna be in inches. You basically, what in order to fix that, you're gonna have to go here. You're gonna have to hover over the ruler, double press, and go to this tab, units and rulers, and change the ruler type, the ruler type from inches to centimeters, and then press OK. And the thing about the rulers is basically you could actually have multiple dimensions. There's no limit. You could actually even change the area for like the 0. And last thing about the rulers, it actually helps you when choosing. Like, I don't know if you notice, but it like latches on to the lines. So yeah, that's like multiple ways it could help you. Does that answer your question, actually?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Allah. So does anyone have another question? Okay, I'm gonna assume that no one has any more questions. So thank you for attending. Oh, what do you?
I apologize for the abrupt question, but is there any way possible I can apply a texture to the walls, to the background walls I'm talking?
Texture to the walls? You mean like a pattern?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically patterns. You could
We applied it
either
on.
use the method that my friend demonstrated, which is basically taking a pattern like this and just copy and pasting it. And just basically copy and pasting. Or you could actually use the other method, which is basically just taking the pattern, putting and basically you put it in another tab, press enter, press edit, then look for a defined pattern and press that and just rename it to whatever you want to and press OK. And then go back, select an area, and press Shift plus F5. Press Shift plus F5. So it's actually better to give it color first. Um, So yeah, basically give it color and then just press Shift 5 and apply the pattern. You could actually change the opacity, like you could control it in many ways in this menu here, and just pick the pattern that you chose earlier, the one that you actually made, which is this one, and just press OK. You could actually control the pattern scale, the spacing, and usually you don't want to mess with this unless there's something off. For example, this is off, like I don't want to offset between layers, and yeah, like just play with this with the scaling, and it's gonna be bigger. But for now, it's this. Does this sound? So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Abdurrahman.
والله سهل خلاص. Any more questions? Okay, thank you for attending, guys, and thank you for attending. I hope you really learned something new from our demonstrations, and we really hope that you actually do apply these on your own projects and have fun, of course, because it's actually really fun to just experiment with Photoshop, and like with more practice, you're gonna actually become even better than a Shalom tool, hopefully one day, and me as well. And yeah, thank you for giving us this time of your day, and yeah, you're free to leave if you, and of course yeah, and you're free to leave